observing posture patterns while laying on the back. The deformations observed in the spine can be flexible or rigid. To distinguish between rigid and flexible deformations, it is best to also test the curvature position while the patient lies on his back. Lying on the back makes it possible to examine a variety of aspects of postural organization. Points to observe in normative conditions. Head position is balanced on the center of the neck bone, and cervical lordosis is slight and moderate. The shoulders lie near the ground and the chest is open and relaxed. The pelvis and lower back are in a neutral position. In most cases, flexible deformations observed in a standing position tend to disappear in a supine position. Flexible kyphosis. While laying on the back, a significant improvement occurs in the extent of curvature, to the point that the deformation may disappear. In contrast, when the deformation source is structural, it is also very prominent when the patient is lying down. Structural deformations. Very prominent when the patient is lying down. What can we expect to see in a structural deformation? The rigid kyphotic position creates a type of seesaw whose ends are in the air, so that in order to lay the head on the mat, extension of the head and neck will be excessive, raising the chin. In addition, a structural problem is also characterized by a shortening of the neck muscles, which limits range of movement and is reflected in a raising of the chin and an increase in cervical lordosis. Shortening of the pectoralis minor causes the shoulders to raise and pulls the scapula into protraction. The chest cavity is in a closed position, with the ribs prominent. On the left, it's flexible kyphosis. Laying on the back, there is a significant improvement in the curvature to the point that the deformation may disappear. On the right, it's structural kyphosis. In contrast, when the deformation source is structural, it is also very prominent when the patient is lying down. Common characteristics of lordotic conditions. Increased lumbar lordosis when laying on the back with legs straight. What should be tested? Is the lordosis caused by tightness of the hip flexor muscles? Tight muscles pull the pelvis and create anterior pelvic tilt. How do we test whether lordosis is caused by tight hip flexors? The best way is to place a bolster or pillow under the knees and see whether relaxing the hip flexor muscles improves lower back position. If the lordosis becomes more balanced, it can be assumed that the hip flexors are tight. When the muscles, the iliopsoas and rectus femoris, are tight, this adaptation prevents an increase in lordosis and serves as another component in the process of diagnosing and drawing conclusions about what to emphasize in the movement therapy.